I want you to put your hands together for the very first time ever. He has been to America's place to race, Iowa Speedway. Let's hear it for the king of stock car racing, Richard Petty!
How's everybody beside cold and wet? I left North Carolina, man. It was beautiful. Okay.
Not too wet
y'all
yet.
stay out here. We got enough people in North Carolina. So.
Not too wet yet, Richard. I think we're going to hold off on,
we're okay
on the
on
liquid
that.
sunshine. We're going to get that sunshine back and warm it up just a bit for you. But first of all, thank you so very much for coming out to Iowa Speedway and greeting all these great race fans from all across the upper Midwest, especially here in Iowa.
It's great. There's a bunch of race fans, as y'all know, that's been going to races ever since I started running. And I think the last time I come to a racetrack in Iowa was Cedar Rapids or somewhere, and they had they was running out there at night, and something happened and had a deadgum riot. Okay, and that's what I remember. That's what I remember about my racing and why
Anyhow, you were not
y'all. So y'all be careful. We don't need any more of that. Okay.
Richard, we did a little, we asked our race fans to email us with some questions that we'd like to ask you this afternoon, if that's all right.
Go for it.
And we'll let you know who the person is that actually emailed the question in. There was lots and lots of them. This is just kind of a sampling of what they did email. And first question is from a fellow by the name of Z. Smith. That's all he identified himself by, was, what was your mother's thoughts when you were following in your father's footsteps behind the wheel of a race car? What did Mom think?
Well, you know, I guess what happened, my dad had broke her in, okay, from the standpoint that we was in racing, and I don't think she thought too much about it from the standpoint of, you know, he's going to get hurt or any of that kind of stuff, because my dad had been doing it for, 10 years and got by with it. So I think it was just, you know, you got to look at our family as a whole lot like a lot of people around here, where you got a farmer and a farmer's son and this stuff come along. We was just in the racing business. It was just a little bit different. We was farming race cars. And I don't really think that she thought a whole lot about it. I know she was concerned about us being on the racetrack, but, you know, if we could come back on Sunday night and give her a check, then she was in good shape. You know?
Amen to that.
The next one comes from Maggie Hendrickson from Colfax. Yes.
All right.
Aside from your incredible racing career, is there anything you still want to accomplish?
I just want to live and live and live. You know, that's an accomplishment. You know, I've been really, really fortunate, as a lot of you know, in my lifetime and what our crowd has been able to accomplish and where we've went to and stuff. And you know, I always looked at things maybe different than other people. As far as I never set goals for myself, because I felt like if I got to them, then I didn't set them high enough. And, you know, then if you didn't get to them, then, you know, it's kind of a deal there. You was always disappointed. So my theory of the whole life is let's just do better today than we done yesterday, than we're going in the right direction. So that's my philosophy.
And a good one it is, Richard. John Morgan from Des Moines writes in, who was your favorite person to race against and why?
I don't like to race against nobody, man. I want to be out in front of them, you know. You know, going back and stuff, you know, I would have to say that my father was my hero from the standpoint of he understood what he was doing and how to do it and how to win races, and so he was my hero. But as far as running against people, you know, we run a bunch against a bunch of good people. I mean, you're talking about David Pearson, Kel Yarborough, Allison's, Bakers. You know what I mean? These guys was tough, buddy. And of course they're tough now too, but I don't have to run against them now. They was tough enough for me back then. But you know, I guess that it's really hard to say, because you know I did this for what, 3 or 4. well, 30 or 40 years, whatever it was. And, you know, I run against, you know, everybody from Fireball Roberts and Junior Johnson up into, you know, Dale Earnhardt and Rusty and all these guys. So I went through the whole gamut, and I survived and some of them didn't. But anyhow, we're still here, and, you know, it was just a heck of a good lifetime. And there's very few that I look back that wasn't really good race car drivers, or they wouldn't have been there, but there was some of them, it was just a lot tougher than others.
Next one comes from Tim Poots of Evansdale. With your new RPM team, do you help make decisions or input on all 4 teams, or just the 2 teams?
No, it's a 4-car team. You know, really what happened was that we brought 2 teams into an existing Gillette operation that had 2 teams. So we're still trying to gel those together. We got off to a really good start at Daytona, and then we kind of stumbled some since then. I think we've learned each other and started arguing with each other. So I don't know, but we just got to get these things worked out. You know, everybody has their ups and downs, and we've just not got our act together yet, but we got some really good people, and we're going to get it together. So the matter of time, and you know, it's kind of a deal this year. You know, the Rouse team started off like gangbusters and looked like they was going to win everything, and then all of a sudden they're not winning anything. And you know, the Hendricks team didn't look good to begin with. They look good now. So you know, one of these days is going to be our turn, is what I'm trying to say. So we're going to be there, okay?
And we've no doubt you're going to be right there, Richard.
Last question from Wayne Ostertag from Madison, Wisconsin. What was the major reason you decided to field a car for the Indy 500? What obstacles, if any, did you have to overcome, and how is the expense so far?
Wow. Okay, really how I got involved with the IndyCar was with John Andretti. You know, a lot of you know that John drove for us from different times and stuff like that, and we got to be pretty good buddies, even though I had to fire him a couple times. We got along real good and all that, and he tried to put a deal together last year. Even though he was up there, he tried to put a deal together and just could never get anything done. And then quickest race was over last year at Indy. He'd been working all year, and about 2 months ago he come in and he put some people together like Winter World, who's a sponsor. They're a North Carolina company, and I knew all the boys that run that place. So it was just kind of a thing that happened, and it was more for John than it was for me being an IndyCar deal. You know, I like the mechanical part of the Indy deal, but I've just been always cup car stuff, so I really never got into that part of it. But the main reason there we are for John, and hope that he can make it. He's too short now. I think he's 31st now when last time I looked, so we got to get him in the race. But you got to figure the car really looks good. It's that petty blue and red, so it is pretty tough.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's let him know how much we appreciate him coming to Iowa. The king of stock car racing, Richard Petty.
Everybody have a good day, okay? Thank you.
Todd, thank you very much for joining in here. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a Jason Brown concert upcoming, so don't go anywhere. And not too long from now, just about 4:15, the green flag will fly for the long